Thank you for tuning in to my official YouTube channel. I'm Reverend MeeLing, Reverend Susan MeeLing, Susan MeeLing, Lady MeeLing, Lady Dori Belle, been known by a few names. I'm going to continue on in reference to the pages in regards of finding the silver lining. So, in regards to the aspects of where I had gone through various aspects in the mentors program. I had done a few things, and so continue with that page. That page. To explain those. So in reference to, where I volunteered at Nine Lives Books, there was a situation. Few of them. One of them being, there's a group of individuals that were assisting in the cat sanctuary, which had caused Suzanne quite a few problems. They had continuously dropped cats off on her, didn't give her the necessary information in regards to their background, and then she had the employees that were along with like the volunteers like at the store, like me, but then also like the volunteers at the cat sanctuary, that each had their own aspect. And so some of the volunteers, they were genuinely helping, and then there were the other ones in reference to dropping off the large number of cats. Like there was one time where she had went to somebody's place, and there were cats all throughout the cabinets and stuff like that, like of the condominium, and they were being looked at for taking I think it was animal control or something like that was going to go through. And then there were ones in reference to the aspects of the not having shot records and all that. And then there were other ones that were just, they found the volunteers at the cat sanctuary, they found, random boxes of cats, brought them to the store, to give to the sanctuary, and then they were essentially feral cats, all that sort of stuff. She wound up getting so many cats in regards to the location at Nine Lives Books, where some of the cat sanctuary volunteers had actually convinced her to put the cats' kennels in the section of the online bookstore, where I was volunteering along with some of the other individuals, some employees, some not, that and the whole thing. And so I tried explaining, hey, the books are expensive in the online books, and if you put the cats in all of their crates in regards to the most expensive section, you're going to devalue those books. And essentially the person in charge of that had been Lisa Williams, the manager of the bookstore, like the actual bookstore, not the online section. And she just was tired of dealing with the cats in the store. And it was just one of those, okay, I get it, as far as it being an issue in some regards. However, the aspects in which Lisa Williams claimed to be an animal whisperer, it's one of those, how How do you do that and then get upset with animals? I mean, realistically, she didn't want to have the stuff going on. So in the process of right before, like literally a couple of days, if not weeks before, whatchamacallit, a few other situations, this cat sanctuary volunteer runs up to me. I have all these books. Carrying from here, they go way up. I have all these books, and they're all online books. They're all books that are going to go online. They're all at minimum like $50, $60 or more. And it's like, carrying them, trying to get them to the back area. And this cat sanctuary volunteer runs up to me and she goes, I need kitty litter stat. I got these books. I'm a little busy. Yeah, just, can you go to someone else? And she was like, you need to get me kitty litter stat. I volunteer at the bookstore. You volunteer at the cat sanctuary. You're in my way. Like, I got all these books. It's just like, and these are expensive books. And so, just get me kitty litter stat. You're obviously strong. As I'm standing there holding the stack of books, and it's like, yeah, that's not my problem right now. My problem is you are in my way. And I got all these books. Like, can you get out of my way? I need kitty litter stat. No, you need to get out of my way, stat. Now, so there were these teenagers that were volunteering at the cat sanctuary, male and female, and they started laughing. Well, the female who needed kitty litter stat finally got out of my way, so that way I could take the books over to the online section in the back, so that way they were away from the main bookstore area. And go with Daniel to drop off the books to the post office after getting them prepared to go. And Daniel could very much discuss how bad I am with technology. Nonetheless, went to Jim's and we were sitting there and stuff like that, talking with the guys in the smoking section. And there was a phone call. And it was for me. They brought me the phone because they knew where I was. And and there was a situation where they needed a first aid kit at $9. I was like, I don't understand why you guys don't have one at the store. But okay. So get to the store. Daniel gets out of the it was my Dodge white Grand Caravan. Daniel gets out of the car, I get out of the car, and go up the stairs, and there's the male of the male and female teenagers, and he is bloody. I mean, bloody. And I have my first aid kit. Which, by all accounts, was like a fairly extensive first aid kit. I did not have blood in my first aid kit. That didn't come standard. And I didn't put it in there because, you got to keep that refrigerated. And that's just, nope. And so Daniel kind of took a step back and kind of just, and I was like, I got this. So I go over and I look at the kid, and he just, his clothing was gray, like a light color gray. And then when I left, when I got back, his gray clothes were the color of my hair and darker. And I'm talking from like here all the way to the ground. So I go over, he's leaning against the counter, and I go over to him and I'm like, have they called your parents? And kid goes, no, can't contact my dad because he's overseas. Oh, he's military. Yes. Okay, did you call your mom? And he goes, yeah, but she's probably asleep and this, that. You're military though, right? He goes, yes, I have a ID card. Let's go. Get in the car. But you called your mom. Yes. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Get him to the car. And I sped really, really fast. And then there was a point where I'm asking the kid to, essentially stay awake and stay with me and stuff like that. The girlfriend's calling her dad on the phone. He knows where we're going to be. He wanted to speak with me while I'm driving. I'm trying to take care of the mail, and it's like, okay, right now, sure, hello, yeah, oh, you want to get coffee? Right now it's not the best time. Like I wasn't doing anything to be rude. It was just one of those getting coffee at this particular little busy. Just a little busy right now. Trying not to let this kid die. And so, yeah, no, I gotta go. You know where your daughter's gonna be? Yes, she's gonna be at Vogue. Okay, bye. Here's your daughter. Like, I'm a little busy right now trying to, make sure that this kid doesn't die and keep, driving the car and speeding nonetheless, getting the kid to the emergency room. I'm a teenager, but nonetheless, get him there. And so, crazy cat ladies, that have been dropping off all sorts of cats over and over and over again to Suzanne and stuff like that, they were nowhere to be found when I had shown up. And I was just like, okay, tell me what happened. So the kid, or teenager, he tells me that he was asked by, and he had pointed out the one who needed kitty litter stat had been the one who told him to go and get the kitty litter to switch out in the kennel. I was like, okay, and that didn't click at that time. It was just more like, okay, so what's this? And so then he started to fade in and out. He tells me the whole thing, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna lie to the army. Oh, don't you lie to the army. Don't you do that. Number one, it's not gonna help your medical, and number two, it's not gonna help in that regard. So I don't know. Oh boy. Okay, why don't you tell me about your dad? Now, mind you, I am speeding at this point in time to get him to the emergency room. I was already going 75 on 410 and I-10 in San Antonio. Just saying. I hope there are no police officers. I really don't want a ticket. I don't ever want a speeding ticket. I do pay them when I get that, but it's like, I don't know. No, please, not right now. Please. I get it, I'll get speeding tickets later to essentially make up for this particular aspect, but can I just not get in trouble that much? Can I just not? Please, that'd be great. I'm kind of trying to save this kid's life. And and I have ever since then. I've gotten so many speeding tickets, which essentially made up for that. I was like, okay, can I stop getting speeding tickets? I was just taking care of the kid, trying to make sure he didn't die, that whole thing. And I get it. I have a lead foot. I don't deny that. However, come on now. Come on. Give me a break. It's not like I'm not doing a bunch of stuff at the exact same time. I'm just saying, not trying to be rude, just come on now. And so the kid goes, and I'm asking him, I'm like, so what does your dad do? He's like, oh, I don't know. Start speeding a little bit more. What do you mean you don't know? How long has he been in the army? Oh, 15, 20, something years, start speeding a little bit more. And what rank? Oh, he's like a captain. Start speeding a whole bunch more. He's been in the Army how long? 15, 20, 25 years. You don't know how long your dad has been in the Army? Nope. And you think he is a captain? Yep. They're speeding. Not that I wasn't already speeding, realistically. Like realistically. It was just one of those, all right, now, you know. Oh. Okay, yeah, okay, sure. Your dad is not a captain. Let me let you know that your dad not a captain. He not a captain. I don't know what rank he is, but I know he not a captain. Not a captain. No, he not. I didn't say that repeatedly. I only said it one or a couple of times. In the rest of the drive, I'm thinking, your dad is so not a captain. Yeah, like after 5 years, you're a captain. And depending on like the rank and when you go in and stuff like that, but like at most like 8 years you are at a captain. Your dad is not a captain at 15 years. Definitely not a captain at 20 years, and definitely not a captain if it's 25 years. That's what's going on. He's not a captain. Get onto Fort Sam Houston, get him to the emergency room, and give me your ID. Okay. Give me your TRICARE card. Okay. Get to the, it's not that I looked over any of it, it was just one of those needing to give it in and stuff like that, and I said, here's my ID, and blue ID card, and the nurse is like, okay, and the kid and his girlfriend are at the line area, and I'm like, yeah, so this is this kid. Bringing him in just to be on the safe side, this, that. He's going to tell you this, and this. And this is actually what happened, because I don't know where whatever cat was, and I don't know if they even had the shot records. And, you know, I know that there have been some feral cats, so I want to make sure that if he has to get rabies shots just to keep him safe, that he's squared away. Because, you know, you're a medical professional, you know, and the female goes, okay, well, let's see what he has to say. Okay, so the kid comes up, tells her exactly what he said that he was going to do in the car, and she looks at me, I look at her, and I go, just saying. She gives me back my ID card. That whole thing. Go finish the check-in, we go sit down. Well, he was already in the wheelchair, but, you know, we go sit down, and I'm sitting there next to him, like, do you guys need anything? You want some snacks? There's a snack machine right there. Then the phone rings, right, where, you know, checked in, and it's like, huh, that is the exact phone next to the, nurse that, all right. Then that nurse shows up in front of us and goes, so your dad is on the phone. Your dad not a captain. No, your dad not a captain. No, your dad not a captain. Not a captain. Not a captain. No, he not. And then she looks at me and she says, and his dad said thank you and you could go. Is what I did. I just thought, your dad not a captain. Look for a camera and like, your dad is not a captain. Not a captain. No, not a captain. Not a captain. And so I go out to my car to go back to volunteering at 9 Lives Bookstore, and I'm thinking in my head, that guy is not a captain's son. Nope. If he is an enlisted guy, that guy's dad is at minimum an E8 or E9. If that guy's dad is a chief warrant officer, he's like a CW4 or CW5. And if that guy's dad is an officer, well, he got stars. That's what he got. He got stars. At 20, 25 years, you kidding me? I don't get the car. That kid's dad is not a captain. So I'm thinking, I'm not a captain, not a captain. Turned on the music, it didn't matter what was on the radio. Not a captain, not a captain. That guy's dad is not a captain. Yeah, not a captain. Because my mind goes the way it does. Not a not a captain. Because that's how my thoughts go. And so I get back to the store, and the cat crates are gone. The cats are gone. None of the cats are there. Like, it's only the store cats. I'm like, where did they go? And Lisa William goes, oh, they got taken elsewhere. And I was like, okay, that's a little weird. So I grabbed the store phone, because whenever I'm there at that point in time, nobody would answer the phone. They barely answered the phone to begin with. So I was like, all right, well, that's a really big annoyance to, like, anybody who calls in. However, okay. Get to the back where the online sales stuff is so I could continue doing the volunteer stuff. Right as I shut the door, phone rings, and I'm like, oh, that's a Fort Sam Houston number. Hello? Dad, not a captain. I don't know if it was Dad, not a captain. Nonetheless, oh, thanks for calling Nine Lives Bookstore. This is Susan. How may I help you? Because I had learned before my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, I had been a receptionist, and I had been a telephone operator. So it, like, that actually was different. So that's why I knew how to answer that way. And, and just, hello, thank you. Had the whatever. And so, oh, you're from animal control from the Army? Oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to go outside and have a cigarette. Sure, let me get my cigarettes, I did that whole thing, so, explain that sort of stuff, and I was like, oh, well, Dad is not a captain. And so, went through and explained all that sort of stuff, and in full truth, it's just this is what I know, this is what was told to me, this was this, so on and so forth. I tried to get this taken care of. I told him that he cannot lie to the Army. He needs to make sure this, that, and the guy on the other end's like, well, thank you for telling him that. Well, it is important. He's not going to get the proper medical treatment in this regard and stuff like that to make sure that he's, if he's telling the injury issues, that, the cat had, like, shots and stuff, and the cat is unknown whether or not that's important. And so, yeah. So finished up with that and discussed that. And so, the aspects of the amount of individuals at the cat sanctuary that were doing all that sort of stuff, they were just constantly doing that to Suzanne. And it was just one of those, partially it was like Lisa Williams had I still don't understand. How are you an animal whisperer and do the animal psychic thing, but don't want to be around animals? Doesn't make sense to me. And then she would complain about certain things when it came to her paycheck. And then to go and make the constant complaints to Suzanne in order for the cat sanctuary stuff to be moved into the section behind the online book stuff. That didn't make any sense to me. And so it was just one of those, it was constantly reminded to me that, she was the manager at the store. I was just a volunteer. What did, my thoughts matter? In that regard, I was like, okay, well, fine. I'm just trying to help where I can. And so after a few situations, it was just one of those, do what I can where I can. However, I did get to read all the books that I put online for the store because I read fast. And so I got to read the big blue book. And for those in the civilian sector who do not know what the big blue book is, there are military guys who know what the big blue book is. You can look it up online. I don't know if you'll be able to purchase it, but you can find about it. So the big blue book is a book that the United States of America's government had put together with various research and different aspects of ufology. And so when that particular book was put into the online book section, it's like, yeah, this needs to be expensive. Because I don't want this just... Because it was the only one anyway. It's one of those, this needs to be up there in price because of security reasons, to make sure. And I understand that there are plenty of governmental programs that are declassified over, different time frames. Sometimes they're declassified instantly as soon as the mission ends. Other times they are declassified 5, 10, 15, up to, I think it's 50 years later, depending. And certain things, it doesn't make any sense for it to be, in my opinion, that far out. I guess pun intended in regards to the alien aspect, right? Nonetheless, one of those, my opinion, I mean, obviously, I'm not in charge of that stuff, but it's one of those, in this era with as many individuals, it's just one of those. I can see certain aspects where there'd be individuals who'd be like, well, let's err on the side of caution. Well, at the same time, when you err on the side of caution, which is important to do in certain regards. However, in other regards, it's one of those, like, for example, the Big Blue Book was one of those, why has this been classified for so long? Like, realistically. And it just didn't make sense to me because I had read over some of the information in it, and I was just like, there is no need for this stuff to be considered. I mean, even back when it was published, what was it, back in the 30s or 40s, something like that. It's like this would have helped so many individuals actually understand certain things much easier and much quicker. My opinion, I obviously was not in charge. I mean, I wasn't alive back then, so I was like, okay, this needs to, all right, well, and it was interesting. It was, the different diagrams and stuff like that. The different aspects in regards to the different metals and now I acknowledge I didn't understand the equations that were in there. It's just one of those, okay, well, that's different, okay, and it's a thick book. It's called the Big Blue Book for a reason. And so, just reading through and it's like, okay, well, there's that. Oh, well, there's that, and oh, there's that, and so on, and the different articles and everything like that. I was like, wow. Yeah, like, so many things could it be, oh, okay, well, and so I'm just the way I am. Because I can read quickly, especially when it comes to books. Like, the online stuff, it's very difficult for me to read because of my headaches and migraines, the lights, and stuff like that. When it comes to, like, paper books, it's like, okay, done, next. And just is what it is. And so, yeah, that was one of those, well, I better make sure that just in case, because while I understand that there are individuals who have that sort of like financial something that I don't fully understand, at the exact same time, it's one of those, well, it's government stuff. And, I mean, well, if the government finds out about this being available, they're going to do what it takes to, contact whoever to be like, hey, so go make this purchase and get it now. And, that sort of stuff in that regard to make sure. And for, various reasons and sometimes excuses, a personal opinion, not all, just, there are a few times where it's been, I would guesstimate even the guys that were involved could be like, yeah, that could have gone a little bit smoother, but, okay. Live and learn and continue on. And so, it was just one of those, that particular Big Blue book, along with so many other books. I mean, literally, the entire back section had to actually be rearranged because of the cat sanctuary. And, when something had occurred and several other things, then Lisa Williams, the manager, had pointed out a bunch of stuff. And so a lot of the stuff had to be condensed and moved so that way, the cat sanctuary could be taken care of more. It was one of those, yes, it's important. However, in other regards, I don't understand why you gotta have the cats in the section with the most expensive books. It just doesn't make sense to me. And so did that, and then there were a few other situations, and I was like, all right, well, then the issues with my now dead ex-husband when he came back is like, I don't have the ability to do this right now anymore, so I can't volunteer anymore. And so did what I could up until the point in time I was like, okay, take care of this, take care of that. And so going on to the aspects of possibly too much, in regards to the classes that I had taken in that regard, and the mentors program, specifically the Austin Dominant Mentor Program, I was asked, do you think that you're taking too many classes, requesting too many mentorships and stuff? And I was like, how else am I going to learn? How else am I going to understand? How else am I going to know? Not just for, in regards to how to do certain things, but although ironically there were certain things that were just kind of, well, that's a little interesting. I thought of that a little while ago. Nonetheless, but also making sure that anybody, if I ever got to, would be able to do that sort of stuff with. And so I had taken quite a few electives. I mean, I took probably about half the amount of electives, or close to a little over half of the electives in regards to the specialties when it came to my scuba diving specialties. And so I had already, had my Reiki teacher master level 3 attunement. And at that point I learned how to, and came up with a system to do chakra therapy with and without the Reiki, gemstone therapy with and without the Reiki, as well as with and without the chakra therapy, just different levels that I could just do all that stuff. And then then in conjunction with a few other things, it was like, oh, I can do this and I can do that. And so I did not succeed in the electrical class. That was the only mentorship that I did not wind up actually graduating. And so, but I also didn't throw a fit. That particular teacher, we talked a whole bunch, or mentor, we talked a whole bunch, and after a certain point, he had found out about the Reiki thing. We had already talked about my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, and he was just like, yeah, so I asked someone I knew who, I really thought it was just fluffy stuff, and then she told me, yeah, you should not be anywhere near, a large amount of electrical stuff. And I was like, yes. I thought that maybe if I went through the class, I'd be able to understand certain things a little bit better, and then be able to, kind of cope better. However, no. Obviously not. And so we actually wound up talking for another hour and a half, 2 hours, despite the fact that I was essentially dropped from that particular portion of the mentor program. And he showed me, some of the stuff from when he was involved with some other programs in the electric stuff. I was like, that's really cool. Oh, wow. Those are some old computers. yours? I recognize that. And the guy was just like, what do you mean you recognize it? Oh, isn't this from... And so I'm just going to leave that at that. And because of the keyboard. The keyboard keys were the biggest tell. For me, at least. It was just one of those, oh, wow. That computer screen is like, so, like, wait. And he looks at me, he's like, oh my God, you really recognize that. Yes, I cannot tell a lie, but yeah, look at that. Oh, like that stuff is so, and the irony of the Blue Book in certain regards, and it was one of those, oh, have you ever heard of this? And he was just like, yeah, I have. And I was like, oh, I got to read that. And he was just, oh, you got to read, yeah. And so I told him about that. He was like, oh my God, you actually got to read that. I was like, yes. So I'm going to continue on in that regard. And so we talked about a few other things, but going on in regards to allergies, yeah, I have quite a few allergies. I'm allergic to fresh fruits and vegetables, which is really weird. I've never denied that is a weird allergy. And it's really unhelpful when it comes to the amount of individuals who are in that, like, vegetarian thing, because it's like, the skin produces oil, and then, I just can't be around certain individuals. I would guesstimate, because at least by certain reactions, and it's like, I can be around certain individuals that have done the vegan thing and stuff like that, probably because they cook their food. However, then there's ones that I can't. Like, they had the raw stuff, and it's like, I can't do that. My skin is getting itchy. And, just one of those, I don't need to be around that, because, it emanates throughout your skin and through your oils, your natural producing oils. And it's like, I can't be around that. That's just, And so, because I'm a carnivore, that's what that boils down to, because any fruit or vegetable that I can eat, it has to be fully processed. I've learned that the hard way, because I've tried to have salad, and I can have salad, but I have to have alcohol, and that's like, I can't do that because I deal with headaches and migraines, and having alcohol means I have hangovers, and I deal with headaches and migraines, so I can't have that, although there have been times where I had honey mead. I drank the whole bottle. It was so good. I was so drunk and had such a bad hangover. Oh, that was painful. So I had to learn how to deal with that in that regard. And so I had this one, there were a few times where I'd gone to go get my hair cut, as you can see. And this particular female saw me vaping inside. And she goes, excuse me. And this was in the state of Texas. And I look at her and I was like, yes. And she goes, I am allergic to that. And I looked at her and I asked what she meant. And she goes, that is what she was allergic to. I said, you're allergic to water vapor? And she said, yes, absolutely. Then why are you in a hair salon? And she looked at me, she goes, what? I said, why are you in a hair salon if you're allergic to water vapor? Because in regards to the e-cigarette stuff, you don't exhale the nicotine. Your body absorbs that nicotine very quickly. You don't exhale the nicotine, you exhale water vapor. And she was like, no, I'm allergic to water. As she was sitting in a salon, about to get a haircut, and she had already reserved her hair to be washed. I don't think that you understand what you just told me. And she was like, no, you don't understand. You are not respecting my allergies. Um, if you are allergic to water, you cannot be in a hair salon. She's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Can you use the toilet? I asked her that. And the people that were in the lobby were like, oh my word. And it's like, really, like, none of you used the bathroom. Nonetheless, the female said, of course do you know that there's water in a toilet? She goes, yes. This is water vapor. Water vapor. And she just, no, you don't know what you're talking about. No, I do. That's the thing. You're just too rebellious with your hair and your tattoos. Huh. E-cigarette. Nope, my tattoos don't come out of my skin or move from one place to another. Huh. No, my hair don't. You know, sort of thing. And you just are, I can't believe that you would do that. And it's like, I can't believe you're gonna lie to my face and tell me in a hair salon that you are allergic to water. That's what I am having a hard time believing. You are telling me you are allergic to water in a hair salon, and you're in a hair salon. Just saying. So, you know, it's just one of those, well, you have your issues. So then I've had issues in regards to various individuals that just have started things with me for no apparent reason. Like, it was always an excuse in certain regards. So at one point in time, I'm standing at the corner outside of a Hobby Lobby. I was smoking my e-cigarette. I was about to go in, and this female comes up to me. Now, she started at the door, and she looks at me, and she goes, I look over, I'm like, bless you. And so I continue. Doing my thing. I know there are smokers and vapors out there that know what I'm talking about. You should probably go to a doctor for that, is what I said. And so I continue. She gets closer to me. Hello? Do you need me to call 911 for you? Out of curiosity. Why are you coughing? And she goes, you need to quit smoking. Why did you feel the need to come over here to tell me that you think that I need to quit smoking? And I am using an e-cigarette. And at that time, my e-cigarette looked like an actual cigarette. There are those who know what I'm talking about. And this female, she just, will you stop coughing on me? Like, just, if you, like, you walked all the way from the door to the edge of where I'm standing at the corner. You could have just gone to the parking lot and not had to deal with that at all whatsoever. You need to quit smoking. You need to get away from me. I'm not smoking. I'm vaping. However, if you want, and there are those who understand this, if you want something to complain about, I will give you something to complain about. And she, so I just put my e-cigarette in my purse, go dig around, find my cigarette pack, and pull out a cigarette. She's like, you need to quit smoking. It's bad for your health, blah, 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 blah. Psh. Suck about half the nicotine from the light of the cigarette. Just, I'm gonna get you. You want to complain? Keep on running. You need to quit smoking. You need to blah, blah. you need to get away from me. And blah, 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 blah. So, you know how you walked all the way from the door to where I'm standing? Blah, 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 blah. Remember? Remember that? And you were complaining about me vaping. Blah, 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 blah. Well, now I'm smoking an actual cigarette. You came over to where I am, complained about me vaping. Now can you tell the difference between vaping and smoking? Blah, blah, blah. You're so blah, 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 blah. I can't believe blah, 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 blah. That'll teach you. You came at me. That's not my fault. And you're so rude. Ruder than you, who came out of the Hobby Lobby all the way to this corner. Which is like, by the way, it was at least 200 to 250 feet from the actual exit. So you came all the way out to the corner. Blah, 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 blah. Well, now that'll teach you. You know, I mean, I'm just saying, I was just vaping, and then you wanted to complain saying it was smoking, and now that I'm smoking, now you actually have a reason to complain. So, are you going to complain, or are you going to finally leave me alone? And you are so rude. You are this. Again, ruder than you, who came out to where I... And then she wound up going to her car. I finished that cigarette. I got out my vape, and then I started vaping some more. I was like, I can't believe I just dealt with that. What type of backwards, stupid... Kidding me? Kidding me? And I know there are smokers and vapors who understand that we're here on that. And it's just like, seriously? Psh, what, just because I look like I do, I'm going to be some pushover? I don't know who you thought you were about to come over to. And so, you know, just one of those, yeah, don't do that. And see how many lives that just saved in that regard? It saved her life. It saved all the people in the parking lot vicinity from, you know, feeling bad for her after she started it. And so I'm going to end in regards to the aspect of a discussion. I'm going to do it in brief in regards to I had made a sarcastic comment, because it's not a joke aspect. It was just sarcasm, which is different. And so we were talking LGBTQP stuff, and they had said that, you know, they were upset in reference to, you know, not being able to turn gay guys straight. And I look at them and I'm like, you do realize that gay guys are gay guys because they're gay, right? No, you can change them. No, you can't. They're born gay, they're gonna be gay, and that's just how that's gonna be. Like, trying to force a gay guy not to be gay, that just doesn't work. That's like trying to force a lesbian to not be a lesbian. That's just not gonna work. You know, that's just how they are born. And so, back and forth in this regard. And I've had this discussion multiple times with multiple individuals that for whatever excuse they thought that, so like the males that were like, no, once they get a look at this, you know, they'll be like, oh, and it's like, yeah, no, they have an allergic reaction to that right there, and you don't have these. So, you know, and even if you had these, they don't look like what these do, and they prefer these as well as this, and you have that. And so, you know, no, once they see it, it's like, yeah, no, they can purchase the size that they want, and you know what is the aspect in regards to what they can purchase. What? They don't have to deal with what is attached at the bottom of that. And, there's that. And no, 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 you can't. No, you can't. So in reference to the females, I can change. No, you cannot change a gay guy. Why not? Because they are allergic to these and they are allergic to this on you. They have a thing that, yes, you can purchase that, but they have a thing where they enjoy, it's the opposite in that regard, where they enjoy that particular aspect, and that is what they enjoy. You cannot, just like you can't force a straight individual to be anything, or heterosexual, you can't force that. Like, they either are or they're not. This is whatever. And so in the various discussions, it was one of those, well, you're just saying that because you're a pansexual. No, I'm not just saying that because I'm a pansexual. I'm saying that because that's fact. That is fact. You make a gay man's life harder than it needs to be by trying to convince him he is not gay. You make a lesbian's life harder than it needs to be trying to convince her that she's not a lesbian. And on top of which, you make your lives harder by trying to convince either side of those that they are not who exactly that they are. And needlessly, at the exact same time. Because they are not attracted to this in that regard. And so I sarcastically said, I can say that in some ways gay guys, they might not like me. And a couple individuals, depending on the location and certain discussions, they were like, well, why not? I said, well, because, I look like, I have the haircut of a male. And so from afar, it's one of those, hey, and then they get up close and they're like, wait, you have this and that and that sort of thing. And so made, certain reference points in that regard. And there were different aspects and different discussions where it was just like, and then the ones that do the drag and stuff like that, it's one of those, well, how'd you get to it? But then, the thing is usually anything that I've ever worn where, I've done certain things, they wind up making it so much prettier because they know how to do all that, like, stuff. And it's like, you are so creative. I'm so envious in such a good way. Like, how do you walk like that? How do you do your makeup like that? When I grow up, I want to be like you, but, me. I just can't do the hair. Like, it's not fair. Like, you can do the hair and all those. I actually did look at wigs. And then I remembered I can't handle the weight of my own hair. So there's no way I can handle the weight of a wig at all. Whatsoever. I am so envious of the ones who can. I grew up with so many people that they could do like, and it wasn't wigs that they did. They had all these like braids and stuff. It's like, how long does that take to do? And they'd talk with me about, the different salons and stuff. It's like, that is so pretty. Oh, that is so pretty. How? And they would, discuss things with me. And I was like, I don't think my hair is going to look like that, like, at all. And they were like, no, it's not. No, it's not going to look like, yeah, your hair is so much thicker than mine. So, but that looks so pretty. I am so envious. And then since my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, those braids I am so much more envious of, because it's like, because I remember the discussions from before my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, where they were like, yeah, you got to pull and you got to do this. It's like, ooh, ow, ow, ow. Ow, 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 ow. And it's like, I do with headaches and migraines. I barely can handle getting a haircut because it hurts so bad with, like, getting it done, but I still need it done. And so, just at the exact same time, one of those, that's so pretty. Like, how, I want hair. Especially since after my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, from the time that my hair got to the, this style, it's one of those, I already was so envious of what you could do with those braids, because I could see how they, like, there were ones that I grew up with going to, specifically in New York and in the five boroughs, and they would do these different swirls and stuff like that with the braids, and I was like, that is awesome. And then there was one female, she had someone who had done like all these swirls and the braiding and stuff like that, and then the rest was like, longer and came down. And she was like, yeah, it's tight. And I'm like, yeah, I bet it is. How long does it stay that way? And she's like, oh, like, as long as I don't do this, and this. And it's like, wow, weeks. Yeah, seriously? Yeah. That's so pretty. I'm so envious. And so now with my after effects from my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, it's like, yeah, I can barely handle getting the razor. I can barely handle that. And and call me weird. I don't care. I've been called so many names. Nonetheless, it's just one of those. I want it. I can't have it, but I want it. Not fair. But yeah, growing up where I grew up, it's one of those, the stuff. And so actually, and before I end this particular video broadcast, so in basic training, there were some females that were in trouble for braids. And I had asked the drill sergeant that threw me into the metal part of the bunk. Nonetheless, it was a couple of days before that. And he had yelled at some of the females who had braids in their hair. And I had been walking by because my particular squad had been released to go back to our Bay area to go get some stuff for the next portion of basic training. And after I heard him yell at her and all this sort of stuff, afterwards, he dismissed her, she went where she went, and I was on my way back down the stairs from the Bay area, the barracks. And I said, "Drill Sergeant, may I ask you a question, sir?" And he goes, "I work for a living." "Drill Sergeant, may I ask you a question?" And he said, "What do you want to know?" And I said, Drill Sergeant, that regulation in the UCMJ, as long as it is natural hair, it is considered regulation. That is her natural hair, correct, Drill Sergeant? And he said, "Yeah, but that's not acceptable in basic training." And I asked why I got in trouble for that. Got smoked for that. And then, when I was told that I was allowed to stand up, I had asked, I said, "Do you know how long that takes?" And the drill sergeant looked at me and goes, "What did you just ask me? Do you know how long that takes, Drill Sergeant? I grew up with some females, and they told me, like, that's their natural hair, and it takes them hours to get that done." And he looked at me and goes, "Are you kidding me?" "No, Drill Sergeant, I'm not. Do you know? But that's still her natural hair." And I got smoked. Those who understand military lingo, that I got smoked. And so, but I didn't understand that. I still don't understand that now. However, that is a whole other ball of wax. I would guesstimate in certain regards that's changed to a degree, maybe. I don't know. But the females that I knew, where I grew up walking around in New York, in the five boroughs, and in certain areas of Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania, and Philadelphia, the majority of them, that was their natural hair. That wasn't like extensions put in, it wasn't weave or anything like that. It was just their natural hair. And so I didn't understand that. So that, I'm just going to end that particular aspect on that. You guys have a good one. Like, share, comment, subscribe to my official YouTube channel. Have a good one.